Hi everyone, my name is Janiah and I am your Calc A tutor. And today we're gonna go over derivatives. The book that I'm using is OpenStax Calc 1, Volume 1. And all right, let's get started. So today I'm gonna go over the definition and the introduction to differentiation rules. If you have time, please read through chapter 3.1 to 2. That basically tells you the definition of tangent line, derivative, what differentiation is, things like that. And remember, to practice in your free time. You get better at math with practice. Okay. So let's define the definition of a derivative. If we let f of x be a function defined in an open interval containing a, the derivative of the function f of x at a, denoted by f of a, is defined by f prime of a is equal to the limit as x is approaching a of f of x minus f of a over x minus a. Provided that this limit exists, alternatively, we may also define the derivative of f of x at a as f prime of a is equal to the limit as h is approaching 0, f of a plus h minus f of a over h. Okay, I know that seems like very confusing, but again, if you read chapter 3.1 and 2, you can look at the proof into that. But today I'm just gonna go over some practice problems with you guys, and yeah. Okay, so what we're looking at here is a derivatives table. I know it looks kind of overwhelming, but with practice, things like this become so much easier, so much it just gets into your brain, with practice. I struggled with it too, but I kept practicing and I eventually got it. So let's just take a second to look at this. You can see that on the left side, the left column, it's y is defined as f of x, and then dy over dx is defined as f prime of x. Yeah, so on the right side, it's going to be the derivative of the function on the left side. Okay, so let's go over just a few really simple practice problems. I'm going to refer to this table a lot, but yeah, okay. So today we're going to practice together. I got this source from Math Center. So we're just going to go over maybe all of these problems, actually. It's pretty easy. Okay. So in each case, use the table of derivatives to write down dy over dx. So let's start with the first two, which is super easy. Okay. So a is going to be y equals 8. And we want to know what the derivative of this is. I would also like to mention that this is kind of like another way of saying f prime of x. Okay. So I just want to say that these were basically pretty similar to one another. Okay, so we want to find the derivative of 8. So if I was going to use the table of derivatives like it says, okay, we know that 8 is a constant. So we would look at the first line, k comma any constant is going to be 0. So since 8 is a constant, it doesn't have an x next to it, our derivative for 8 is going to be 0. All right. And for b, I believe it's y is equal to -2. Again, -2 is a constant, so f prime of x is going to equal 0. Perfect. Moving on, let's go to problem C. y is equal to 0, which is also a constant. I'm going to go ahead and skip that because we know that the derivative of a constant is going to be 0. So let's actually not do C, and let's go to D. So y equals x. Okay. So we want the derivative of x. Let's go to our table and take a look. So x is not a constant, it is a variable. And look at that. X, the derivative of x is going to be 1. Okay, let's turn that into a D. Okay. E is saying y is equal to 5, x 5. I'm so sorry. This one is asking you to solve x to the 5th power. Okay. So now we want to find f prime of this, the x to the 5th power. So let's go over here. If you look at the table on the left column, it's going k, x, x squared, x cubed, x to the n for any constant n. So it's saying that any number n has this following rule to be the derivative: n times x to the n minus 1 power. So if we turn back to our page here, we know that if y is equal to x to the n, f of x is going to be x, n times x to the n minus 1. Okay, so in this problem, let's set n equal to 5 because that is the constant that is up on our power. Okay, so if we were going to write out this formula over here in terms of n equals 5, we would get 5x to the 5 minus 1. Okay, and we can simplify this further because 5 minus 1 is 4. So the derivative of x to the 5th power is going to be 5x to the 4th power. Let's just go ahead and box that to make it simpler for everyone. Okay. The next problem is saying find the derivative of y is equal to the square root of x. Okay, so when I took calculus, I thought that this problem was so hard, but it's actually not hard at all. So this is question or letter T. T is asking us to find the derivative of the square root of x. But I know how this looks, so let's rewrite this. How can we rewrite this? Well, the square root of x is the same as x to the 1/2. So if I was going to rewrite, if I was going to use the power rule, which is what we used in letter E, we know that f prime of x is equal to n x n minus 1 we're going to set n equal to 1/2, and we're going to plug in our numbers, which is going to get us 1/2 x 1/2 minus 1 and then you can simplify this further by subtracting the 1/2 from 1. So then our final answer is going to be 1/2 x to the negative 1/2, or you could ultimately also do 1/2 and then 1 over x squared, or square root of x. So both of these answers are fine. I believe I would personally keep it like this, but that's just how I visually liked seeing it. But you can also use this as well. It's really based on preference by your professors and stuff like that. Okay, let's move on. It's asking us to find the derivative of y is equal to, I believe it's cube root of x. Yeah. Okay. So we can rewrite this again. X to the 1 over 3. And we're going to use the power rule again. So remember again, f prime of x for the power rule is going to be nx to the n minus 1. Then we're going to set our n equal to whatever the constant is, which is 1 over 3. And we're going to plug in those values in. So we're going to do 1 over 3, f prime of x equal to 1 over 3 x to the n, 1 over 3 minus 1. We're actually going to rewrite this, so it's 3 over 3. 3 over 3 is the same as 1. And we can subtract this when we're simplifying, so it's easier for everyone. So that means that the derivative of f of x, or f prime of x, the derivative of f of x is going to be f prime is equal to 1/3 x to the negative 2 over 3. Okay, and that concludes my lesson today. Today we went over the power rule, the definition of a derivative. In my next video, I believe I'm going to go over some more derivatives and talk about some definitions. And yeah, thank you for listening, and see you in the next video.